Good morning. You're listening to WIFO-FM in Jessup. Big Dog Country, 105.5 on your FM dial, 3 minutes after 8 o'clock here on this Friday morning, 10th day of September. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by First Southern Bank, Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings, Murphy Builder Supply, and O'Quinn & Associates Country Financial.
Hi, I'm Mandy Yeomans.
And I'm Raymond Brown with First Southern Bank. As your locally owned community bank, we're here to help our community grow. Our customers are why we are here. You can tell we want your business.
We offer all types of deposit products, personal and business. We have fast, efficient service, and yes, we have online banking too. I'm sure we have an account to fit your needs. Stop by or call us at 912-588-1010 and see how First Southern Bank can help you.
FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings restaurant in Jessup is now open for business, practicing social distancing, but still serving that great food that Damon's is famous for. Come inside or come through the drive-thru, but Damon's is open inside and welcomes back its customers. The menu's the same, the service is fast, and the food is fantastic, and the sauces remain the same, mild, wild, insane, or inferno. The number is the same, 588-WING, 588-9464. Damon's Restaurant on West Cherry Street in Jessup, dining room now open for business. Come on in and enjoy a great meal today.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jessup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
Most people understand the need for life insurance, but not many want to talk about why it's essential to your financial plan. It may seem intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Don't get overwhelmed. Get started with Country Financial. Call me, Sean O'Quinn, today at 588-1051 and let me work with you to find life insurance that gives you the protection you need at a price you can afford.
Life insurance policies issued by Country Life Insurance Company and Country Investors Life Assurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jessup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
World-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jessup, Big Dog Country Radio, 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Doing great. The Steelers signed T.J. Watt to an extension, so it's good.
Oh, that just makes you happy.
He made my day.
I thought you were going to say Wayne County football tonight, Georgia football tomorrow, exciting NFL game last night, but no, it has to be T.J. Watt signing with the Steelers with an extension.
All week long, he wasn't practicing because he wanted a contract extension. The Steelers have a policy. They don't do contract extensions once the season starts. Season starts Sunday, so they said it was going to happen after the last preseason game, and it dragged out. But from what I understand, from all reports, T.J. Watt walked in there and said to heck with his agent, walked into Mr. Rooney and said, we got a deal, let's go. I got to play Sunday. So.
And what position does he play?
Defensive end.
Defensive end.
One of the best defensive players in the NFL.
He's a beast, huh?
You got to, when you purchase somebody's jersey, you hope the guy stays. So now that he signed the extension, the jersey's good for like 3-4 years. So
all right, well,
you don't want him traded to another team. So
we're glad you're happy, Bob.
I'm ecstatic.
Yeah,
we're excited. Pittsburgh and Buffalo Sunday. Go Steelers.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Well, world famous Butch and Bob Show here for this Friday morning. We got an election coming up in November for mayor of Jessup. And Bob, we have a candidate for mayor of the city of Jessup in the studio with us.
We got two candidates. We had Ralph in a couple weeks ago. Ralph Hickox and Tyrone Johnson, two candidates running for mayor. Tyrone's in the studios with us. Tyrone, how you doing?
Good morning, guys. Doing well.
I've known you for a long time, but there's people out there asking, who's Tyrone Johnson? I've heard somebody call the other day. Who's Tyrone Johnson? So tell us who Tyrone Johnson is. Who's Tyrone Johnson?
Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, I am Tyrone Johnson. I am a native of this place called Jessup, Georgia in Wayne County. I'm very proud to be from here. I've been back here for several years now. I left here initially in 1986, in the class of 1986, Wayne County High School. Left here to go off to college in Atlanta, and then on off for a professional career in the Northeast, both in Boston and New York City. Worked as a school administrator as well as a nonprofit administrator. My background is also as a clinician, both a literacy specialist and my initial profession was actually as a speech and language pathologist. So I worked clinically in public schools and administratively in public schools and in higher education as an associate dean of admissions. I worked in admissions on the college level, both at Harvard University, Columbia University, and which are both my alma maters, along with Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. Started my own company several years ago, College Excursions USA, which specializes in taking kids to visit colleges and universities around the country. Enterprise that I started, which to give kids an opportunity to look up and look out at various possibilities that exist. But I am from this place called Jessup, Georgia, and I'm very proud to be back in Jessup, Georgia. I'm also the full-time caregiver for my mother. So I came back here. My father passed away, I guess, about 13 years ago, who had been a local civic leader. And I returned to Georgia frequently after his passing to take care of my mom. So I am here, and after being here for quite some time and observing some things on the local level, I determined it was time for me to get involved and continue to do as my dad once did, to be a servant leader. When I pass places in Jessup, such as the spec building, which was called Duro Med building, right across from the Vocational Technical College, as well as the college itself. And when I pass places such as the federal prison and places such as Omaha Federal Credit Union or Bennett Union Baptist Church, these are places that my father was directly involved in its development in terms of those places being built. His hand was involved in a lot of things here locally as it pertains to the economic development of this city and this county. And I'm a firm believer that it's time for another economic development transformation, per se, that we need to keep Jessup moving forward as it pertains to economic development and jobs. As I'm out on the campaign trail talking to folks, that's what I hear: jobs, jobs, jobs. And so I do believe that jobs will certainly serve as a solution for some of our local ills, but there's some other things that don't necessarily doesn't necessarily pertain to jobs that we also need to address in order to make this place a better place. So I'm in the race to win, and I'm in the race to help this community move forward. I am certainly a team player, but I'm also a leader who comes with possibly diverse perspectives on some issues. But I do believe that we can make Jessup and Wayne County better. We do call it WLOP, right? The Wonderful Land of Progress. So in order to be the wonderful land of progress, that means that we as a community need to unite both city and county, industrial authority, DDA. We all need to pull all of our resources together and focus on making this place the best darn place it can be. And that's what I'm committed to.
You mentioned your father knew him for a long time. As you mentioned, he was a long time city commissioner to help people all the time. I just admire, he's just a good guy. He didn't really speak loudly, but when he did speak, people listened. And like I said, he was a team player as well, and was involved in a lot of things. Just a great guy.
Yeah, I will say we certainly miss him. He was what I call a servant leader. Dad is the type person who he would step to the forefront when needed, but a lot of times, a lot of his maneuvering was really behind closed doors. He was able to really bring people together. He understood the importance of there being unity. Dad was involved with stuff, back right out of high school. He got involved with really civic engagement, and throughout his entire life, that's what he embodied. So hats off to him, in terms of how he led. But I certainly know that he believed that if better was possible, good enough wouldn't do. So he always fought for the progress of everybody, and that's just reflected in so many from so many different angles. But yeah, he certainly was a great person, and when you think about what we need this day and time, we need leaders working together, irrespective of gender, irrespective of race, irrespective of background. We need people coming together to really try to push this place forward. My campaign is based on 4 core principles, that being greater possibilities, new opportunities, healthier communities, and better living. And I think anything that I do, if I am granted the opportunity to serve as Jessup's mayor, will be connected to those 4 components. We've got to have a healthier community. We've got to have greater opportunities. We've got to do that, and so I do believe that that Jessup can be made better. We've had some great leadership, even our. Well, I'm about to say our current mayor, but now he's stepped down as mayor. David Earl, I think, did a fine job as mayor. But I also believe that Herb Shaw and Jerry McDaniel and a lot of other folks did a great job in terms of moving this place forward during the time that they served. And so I'm committed to working all across this city. I'm an inclusive person, so my mindset is certainly that the mayor should be someone who's on it. He does become the chief ambassador for the city, and I think that I can do that quite well. So I
Tyrone, someone just texted in that they're hearing you talk about your father like that. They would just say your father's name and what he did here for the city. Was he a city minister, right?
Yeah.
City council member.
Yes. My father was James E. Johnson, and most people when they drive to Walmart they see James E. Johnson Connector. Well, that's named in honor of my dad. He had served as the chairman of the county commission. He was actually the first African American elected to.
He was county commissioner.
He was a county commissioner and a city commissioner. Yeah. So he served a stint as a county commissioner. He advocated, traveled with folks, traveled to Washington to advocate for this place. That's how we ended up getting the federal prison. And Dad actually signed off on the land for the county to be given to the feds for that prison to be built. But people such as Lindsey Thomas, Congressman Lindsey Thomas at the time, Bill Durrett, local leaders such as they, were always in Washington advocating for this place. And that's how we ended up with the federal prison. Even when from a state level, he worked with Governor Zell Miller and others at that time in order to bring the vocational technical college, I think it was then called Omaha Technical College, now called Coastal Pines. But even from the standpoint of, you think of the post office. When I go in the post office or when I walk in City Hall, Dad was directly involved in pushing for, he had, remember the battles with Roscoe Dean, the battles over whether the post office would be moved or not. That was Dad's district, and he was adamant about, the post office we needed a new post office, and he directly wrote to the Postmaster General saying, yes, we're going to get that in Jessup. Yes, we're going to make it happen. And he worked with local leaders in order to push that through to make sure that the post office was built and that the new City Hall, that we transformed the old post office to the City Hall. So there's not a place in the city that I drive on a day-to-day basis or place that I go in that I'm saying, it makes me think of my father. Actually, I talked about my father, but I haven't talked about my mom. My mom actually is Corrine Johnson. My mother, I think I shared this somewhat in my opening letter to the city, but my mother was born actually in Liberty County, and my grandparents came to Wayne County when she was a child, and my grandfather worked for and with Mr. Miles, the Miles family on Orange Street. Most people know Foreman Miles. Well, his father was in fact the surrogate father of my mother. In 1944, when my grandfather passed, my mother also had the misfortune of her mother becoming ill, and they had a pact as friends that if anything ever happened to either of their spouses, they would do their best to take care of that family. And so the Miles family, from 1944 until my mother graduated from high school in 1955. So my mother grew up in a white home, here in Jessup on Orange Street. So when I drive to Dairy Queen, the closest house to Dairy Queen is the Miles house on Orange Street, where my mother grew up. And so she had a lifelong friendship and relationship and bond with the Miles family. Even today, we keep in contact with Ivoline Miles, his wife. Constantly, we communicate. And to me, that speaks volumes about this place, the power of love, the power of community. And I think it also helps us to understand that no matter what the challenges are, we can work through it, even in a hostile environment that sometimes, plays out in our nation, we can work through it. And through unity, we can improve this community. And that's what I'm committed to.
I'm curious, the mayor doesn't get a vote. There's a couple of city council seats open. Why not run for city council? Like I said, the mayor just runs the meetings.
Yep.
So,
well, it's interesting that you say that. The mayor does vote in certain circumstances. He's almost like the Kamala Harris of the city council. He only votes when there's a tie vote, right? But the mayor has
never happens,
right, which rarely happens. But the mayor does have the power to help set the agenda, to determine what gets talked about, to represent the city, and to help advocate and bring business to our town. The mayor also, my argument is that we may be at a season, based on the growth of this town, that we might need to revisit somewhat some of the responsibilities of the mayor. I argue that we do have our structure right now is a council mayor structure wherein collectively they determine and they're in charge of what happens. But when you look at, say, the recent situation that we had with police, it's like, don't you want a mayor who can keep the citizens informed? Don't you want a city government that is transparent? Don't you want a city government that is responsive? That's what I would commit to. Sometimes when there are things going on that we need to know about, a mayor needs to be within reason, particularly if it's something that can be disclosed, needs to let us know exactly where the problems rest, because at the end of the day, the citizens are in charge of this town. And so I'm just a firm believer that a mayor, the mayoral position in Jessup, unlike, say, the mayoral position in Walterville or somewhere else, does not carry the same powers. The mayor is not the equivalent of our city manager, so certainly I do believe that there needs to be a team set up wherein there are some powers that are in fact under the auspices of the mayor. If we've changed our city code for other things, we can modify that, but I'm a firm believer, take it to the citizens. Let the citizens have a voice in what actually does happen in the kind of government they'd like to have.
You mentioned the city manager. That's the next topic I want to. Apparently the city manager is going to be selected before the election in November. So your thoughts on the city manager position? I know they hired a firm. I think September 28th is the day the firm will come and give them a list of candidates, and they'll start the interview process. But apparently you won't be involved in that. And like I said, the city manager will be in place before you get in office if you do win the election.
Yeah, it's not a decision that I agree with, and I've been very clear about that. I do believe that there is no rush. The sky is not falling. My belief is that the mayor should be involved in that process. We've had a mayor who's now stepped down. We have a mayor pro tem who will be, in fact, leaving office in January. We could possibly have, we know for certain there are going to be 2 new members of that body. We could possibly have 3 or 4 new members of that body. So why would the council need to take action about something such as this, where there may be several individuals coming on board who will have to work with that person? It's almost like we're saying, okay, well, could we say beware, per se, to the person who accepts the job under those circumstances? I don't know. But what I am saying is that I do believe that the new mayor, be it me or be it Ralph, the new mayor should, and I don't believe it would be me, but the new mayor needs to be involved with that decision. That's an important decision. And I think that the new mayor needs to be involved in that. But as you say, they have it on a fast track right now. Who knows what might happen between now and that time in terms of applicants and so forth. And actually, while I have a chance to talk about that, I really think that it was an enormous waste of taxpayer dollars to hire a search firm to search for a city manager. I mean, you have the Georgia Municipal Association, which is embodied to assist towns and cities. They could send out, a request for applications all across the state of Georgia with just the touch of a keyboard. They could have actually, assisted us in this process. So I don't agree with that, but by all means, whatever the decision is a decision that I'll have to work with. And I'm committed to working with it and working through it, whatever it is. But those are my opinions on that.
Everybody's got a past, present, and future. Like, if you get elected, what do you see as the future of the city of Jessup? What would you like to see the city? You mentioned jobs, and businesses, things like that. What else would what's your vision of the city if you get elected mayor?
My vision is a city that is a robust place for families, a place where you have routinely festivals. And people always talk about, there's nothing to do in Jessup, cultural arts wise or performing arts wise, so forth, so on. Might it be time for Jessup to consider possibly building a performing arts center, or building a cultural arts place where events can be held, where you can have off-Broadway events come to our town? Why don't we have a country music festival in downtown? Why don't we have, a jazz festival in our city? We have great festivals at certain times, but we don't have an agency, an entity in the city itself which facilitates such. And I'm thinking that could be another revenue generator to bring people from surrounding towns to our town. Why not have our local businesses downtown open until midnight, midnight madness, while these festivals are unfolding? So I envision a robust place. We certainly need, for example, you talk about how do I envision the city of Jessup? I envision the city of Jessup a place where people can also visit and have decent hotels to stay in. Sometimes families might have the accommodation for family, for extended family. Sometimes they may not. So as opposed to having to go get an Airbnb, you may want to stay at a Marriott Fairfield Inn or Hampton Inn. And fortunately, we do have coming online now a Holiday Inn Express. That is great. We need more hotels like that. But in addition to that, we're going to need restaurants to support that also, and we have a few, but we also have, like on the weekends, people are somewhat at a loss because they only have one place or two places that they might take their family out to dine on a Sunday. Where's the Applebee's? Where's the Chick-fil-A? Where's the Ruby Tuesdays? Chili's and restaurants of that sort. We shouldn't have to travel all the way to Hinesville or to Brunswick for that kind of experience. So my hope is that we can move in a direction from an economic development standpoint, and I look forward to working. In fact, when we talk about even the development piece, I want to add, we currently have a DDA. It is my belief that we need a JDA. We need a Jessup Development Authority. And the Jessup Development Authority would be all-inclusive of everything that exists within the confines of the city of Jessup. So that means it would include not only businesses, but it would include communities. We've got communities in this city that are dilapidated and run down. And one of the constant complaints I hear is you drive in certain sections of the city, it's just not good. And so you want a place where you can drive through no matter what artery you turn down, whether you turn down a street by intent or by mistake. You want that community to be inviting, to say, wow, this is Jessup, Georgia. I want people to leave here knowing that Jessup is a great place and a place that they need to relocate to. And so that means we can't have a situation where people are throwing trash down on the street. So we need a proactive plan about, we have zero tolerance for such in Jessup, Georgia. But let's also put the tools there to help our citizens discard of trash. So where are our city trash cans, not just in downtown on a corner in downtown, but where are they at the corner, say, of Cherry and 4th, or Pine and 4th, or Poplar and First? So we need to be proactive on all levels in terms of making this place a better place.
Okay. Again, we appreciate you coming in. And one final question. The candidate yesterday talked about how she's going door to door. A lot of people with the pandemic, they're not going. How are you at campaigning? What's been your strategy? You going door to door, or are you doing it by social media?
I'm not going to reveal all my strategies, but I will.
Come on. We'll just keep it between us.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to reveal all my strategies, but I will say this: I'm making every effort to meet every citizen that I can. I've already started a series of meetings with local leaders. I will soon have a meeting with the CEO of the hospital authority that will be coming up soon. I've already met with County Commissioner Herschel Hires. I know Ed Jeffords, because my interest is making sure that the city and county can work together, whatever it may be. And I'm a firm believer that I'm best suited for this role also, just based on history alone. I won't say much about the situation of my opponent, but I will say this: certainly if you're coming from a situation that has been quite divisive and contentious on a board, and now you're seeking a position wherein you, in effect, to make Jessup and Wayne County move forward, you're still going to have to work with those individuals. And I contend that I can work with anybody, any day, in order to make this place a better place. And I'm sure that he would be an effective leader. I'm not in any way bashing my opponent, but I'm making it clear that I'm not running against my opponent. I'm running to be the mayor of Jessup, Georgia, and the best darn mayor that Jessup has ever seen. That is my goal. And so I think the citizens, whomever I meet, whatever their political stripe is, I don't care, because at the end of the day, I have to earn your vote. I have to ask you for your vote. I tell people when I go out to place a sign in their yard, they say, why didn't you place a sign in my yard? So-and-so has a sign in her yard. I said, I have to ask you to place that sign in your yard, just like I need to ask you for your vote. So that is my position. My position is win, lose, or draw. Be assured that I'm going to enjoy this process. Be assured whatever the decision is, once the voters have spoken, I respect whatever the voters choose to do. So it would be an honor to serve, but it doesn't, no sweat off my back if they don't elect me. My thing is I am running to be the mayor, to be the best mayor that Jessup has seen, and I hope that the citizens will see that and will entrust me to have that opportunity.
Okay. All right.
Appreciate you coming in, and we look forward to the election in November. I know early voting starts sometime in October. So
it's coming soon.
Here before you know it.
Yeah, it will be here before we know it. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much.
All right. Tyrone Johnson in this morning, candidate for mayor. Tyrone, just see your way out, and we're going to talk a little bit first, and just hand lock the door when you leave, please. All right, take care. Tyrone Johnson, candidate for mayor of Jessup, our special guest this morning here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. Well, Bob, we got Wayne County football tonight. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, like I said, I saw South Effingham last week. They're going to predominantly be a run team. They got two good running backs, Cameron Edwards and the Martell kid who's the speedster. And the quarterback's not, he's kind of average at best, young sophomore. He kind of just tries not to lose the game. So if we can stop the running game, I think we got a good chance. So hopefully we can get over there and find a way to win. Got to get a win against South Effingham because the schedule gets a lot tougher after tonight.
Yeah, is it BC next
BC
week?
Thursday night.
Yeah, that's top 10
and then go to Baxley, who's rolling.
Appleton County? Oh,
be interested to see what Appleton and Tiff do tonight. Appleton's at Tiff. That's the big story in Appleton.
Oh, wow.
The school's been canceled because they don't have enough bus drivers to get the team and the cheerleaders and the band to Tiff. So school's been canceled in Baxley today to get, so all the buses are rolling the football team and the cheerleaders to Tiff.
So they don't have school in Appleton County today because they didn't have enough bus drivers.
Right, that's exactly right.
Take them to school and back, and take the team and cheerleaders over to Tiff. So they took football over the classes.
That's what they did. They canceled school last week. On last Friday, they announced this Friday's game would be canceled.
So they're not going to cancel.
Not this game. I'm sorry, not the game. School.
School was going to be canceled.
School is canceled, right.
Not enough bus drivers.
Right.
You hear that and see that in every single county. Not enough school bus drivers out there.
So football trumped school today in Baxley.
Okay.
Got their priorities right, I guess.
Bob.
Football's important.
Football important, huh? Football important. Well, what a game last night between Tampa Bay and Dallas. Dallas did a lot better, or either Tampa Bay did a lot worse than I thought.
It was just an entertaining game. Like I said, everybody wanted to know how Dak Prescott was going to play because he didn't play in the preseason, coming off the injuries. Both the knee and the shoulder was worked on over the summers, but he looked awfully good to me. CeeDee Lamb's an excellent receiver for the Cowboys. It was a good ball game.
Yeah, good ball game. Just a great. I mean, down to the last second, people got their money's worth. I can tell you that.
But they should have known. You don't give Tom Brady a minute and a half.
Anytime. Yeah, don't give him a minute and a half. That's like 5 minutes to 10 minutes for other quarterbacks.
Him and Gronk go to work.
They go to work. Well, it's time to earn our pay.
Gronk is a beast out there.
Isn't he?
How would you like to try to cover him? Or try to tackle him?
Tackle him. Covering's one thing.
There's one play where he cut like a 5-yard pass, defensive back kind of pushed him out of bounds, and Chris Collinsworth says, if he could have tackled Gronk and kept him in bounds, that would have been big. I was like, well, you go try to tackle him. He's lucky he was able to push him out of bounds. Come on, Chris.
Well, Bob, we wish you the best with a nice ball game. Wayne County, South Effingham, up in Effingham County.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, take care. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO, 105.5 FM, brought to you by First Southern Bank, Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings, Murphy Builder Supply, and Country Financial Acquaintance Associates.